Awaken the Stoic warrior within. Have you ever looked back at your life and realized that it is not dreams you lack, but discipline, that it is not opportunities you are missing, but strong enough habits to keep you going until the end? Every morning you wake up with good intentions. Today will be different. Today you will wake up early. Today you will work out. Today you will focus. But only a few minutes later, your hand reaches for the phone, you start scrolling mindlessly, and lose yourself in someone else's life. Another day passes with nothing changed. Once again, you have broken a promise to yourself. You hate that feeling, the feeling of knowing you could be more, but still repeating weak choices. You want to be stronger, calmer, and more focused. You want to sit down and work without battling every little temptation. You want a sharp mind, a spirit as solid as stone. You want to rise above the crowd, but the world is not on your side. Everything around you is designed to pull you toward comfort. Short videos, instant entertainment, advice that says, love yourself by taking it easy. People tell you that rest is the answer to everything, that you should slow down, that you deserve comfort. But the truth is, the more you give into comfort, the further you move away from the person you know you could become. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus said, no one becomes great by accident. It is the result of choice and daily training. Discipline does not kill your freedom. Discipline is the only door that leads you to real freedom. Freedom from procrastination, freedom from doubt, freedom from a life ruled by emotions and outside temptations. The question is no longer, how do I find motivation? The real question is, who am I training myself to become every single day? Every small action is a vote for a version of yourself. Each time you choose the bed instead of waking up, you cast a vote for weakness. Each time you choose focus over distraction, you cast a vote for the warrior within you. This video is not for those who want a few minutes of motivation and then go back to their old life. This is for you, the one who knows it is time to build your own system. In the next 60 minutes, you will walk through 10 habits that, if you truly commit, will change the way you think, the way you act, the way you see the world, and the way the world sees you. These are not feel-good habits, but rituals that the ancient Stoics would practice if they lived in today's chaotic world. How you wake up, how you face discomfort, how you manage emotions, how you turn each day into mental training. This is not a game. This is the selection process for the top 1%. From this very moment, treat every word you hear not as a reminder, but as a command you give yourself. No more, I will start tomorrow. No more, when I have time. A warrior does not wait for the perfect day. They turn any day into the beginning. Imagine the next 6 months. You can either keep staying up late, scrolling, comparing, regretting, or you can start today with small but consistent steps. Everything begins with one right step, and today is that step. This is both an invitation and a challenge. If you are truly ready to join the top 1% who live by discipline instead of fleeting motivation, prove it now with your first small action. Comment below, I choose discipline over comfort, and take that as a vow to yourself. The rest of this video will show you 10 habits to keep that promise until discipline is no longer something you try to remember, but who you truly are. The foundation of transformation. If the opening was a wake-up call, this part is the foundation, because no one can build a disciplined life without understanding why it matters so much. Before you dive into the 10 habits, you must understand that everything you do or do not do is decided by two forces within you, emotion and reason. The Stoics called this the battle between the animal and the human within. One demands comfort, the other demands growth. Every morning you must choose to live by comfort or by principle. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, when you wake up in the morning, remind yourself that today you will meet selfish, ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, and jealous people, but they cannot rob you of your own goodness. That is not just a reminder of patience, it is the core philosophy of Stoicism. You cannot control the world, but you can control how you respond to it. All your power lies within, in your ability to remain calm, focused, and steady amidst chaos. The modern world makes this harder than ever. Your brain is being programmed to seek instant rewards. Every swipe, every notification, every like They are small hits of dopamine that make you crave instant satisfaction. Meanwhile, discipline and training demand the opposite, delaying gratification, enduring discomfort, repeating boring actions. That is why so many people give up halfway. It is not because they do not know what to do, but because they have not built the system to control themselves. The Stoics did not believe in motivation. They believed in systems. Epictetus taught, "No one is born free. Freedom only comes when we discipline ourselves." They understood that willpower is secondary, and because willpower lasts for minutes, but habits last forever. If you rely on motivation every day, you will always lose. But if you build the right habits, you do not need to think. You just live. Look at Marcus Aurelius, and the most powerful emperor of Rome, yet he still wrote in his journal every night. He did not write to show off his philosophy, but to reflect, to make sure his mind was not consumed by power or emotion. Or Seneca, rich, successful, but still lived simply, ate modestly, and trained hard so he would never become a slave to comfort. They knew that discipline does not restrict freedom, it protects it. Modern science agrees. Studies from Stanford and Harvard universities show that human beings have a limited amount of willpower each day. Every time you make a choice, to eat or not, to work or delay, to focus or get distracted, you burn energy from that reserve. Once it runs out, you fall back to old habits. That is why real change does not come from emotional excitement, but from building small, consistent, automatic actions. This is where Stoicism and science meet. Both say that a good life is not built on bursts of motivation, but on daily consistency. Every small behavior repeated in silence creates massive transformation. Habits are the quiet road that takes you to where you want to go. You may not notice the change each day, but after 6 months, you will be unrecognizable. Starting today, treat discipline as a spiritual ritual. Every small act, waking up on time, breathing mindfully, writing your goals, staying silent in negativity, is a way of offering your attention to yourself. The Stoics saw life as a battlefield of the mind, and every right habit as a sharp weapon protecting you from chaos. Seneca once said, "No one can heal you unless you are willing to heal yourself. No video, no book can change your life unless you decide to act. But once you begin, even by doing one small thing right today, you have already taken control of your direction." Look back at yesterday. How many times did you say, "I already know this," but did nothing? How many times did you watch a motivational video and forget it minutes later? Knowledge will not save you. Action will. Every day you delay, you strengthen your weakness. Every day you act, even in small ways, you strengthen your power. Your first micro action starts right now. Place your hand on your chest, take a deep breath, and say out loud, "I control my mind." Feel your heartbeat, your breath, your life inside you. That is the only thing you truly control. Everything else is an illusion of control. From this moment forward, promise yourself that you will not let temporary emotions decide your long-term path. You will not wait for motivation to do what is right. You will act because you have chosen to become a Stoic warrior. Every day is a chance to train your mental strength, to master yourself, and to prove that you can go further than the 99% who quit halfway. If you understand that, you are ready for the next part, where we will dive into the 10 habits, the daily rituals that will reshape your mind, your behavior, and your identity. This is not a pretty list to read for fun. This is a roadmap for those who truly want to take control of their life. Comment right now, "I control my mind." And remember, no one else is coming to save you. You are the one. And your journey begins right now. Habit 1. Wake up before the world does. Every morning you have two choices: keep sleeping to chase your dreams, Or wake up to turn those dreams into reality. Most people choose to sleep a little longer, but those who make a difference choose to act while the world is still quiet. This is not just a habit. It is a morning ritual, the birth ceremony of a conscious day. The Stoics understood that if you win the morning, you win the day. Think about how you start your mornings. You open your eyes, reach for your phone, check messages, scroll through social media, and in those first few seconds, you have already given control of your mind to the outside world. Emotions, news, comparison, anxiety, They all flood in before you even realize it. For the rest of the day, you react instead of taking charge. You move to the rhythm of others instead of creating your own. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When the sun rises, remind yourself, I rise to do the work of a human being." He did not say to make money or to get things done, but to live as a human being, a creature of reason, discipline, and purpose. Waking up early is not about being better than others. It is about living with intention. The morning is when your mind is purest. When everyone else is still asleep and the noise of the world has not yet begun, you have a chance to connect with yourself. And in the silence of dawn, you can finally hear your inner voice, the one you ignore all day. This is the moment to reset your direction, define what truly matters, and build the energy that will carry you through the day. Imagine waking up just 30 minutes earlier and the air is still cool. The first light has not yet entered your room. Everything is calm. You stand up, drink a glass of water, breathe deeply, and feel your lungs fill. No notifications, no social media, just you and the morning. You write down 3 lines. What will I control today? What will I take action for? What will I let go of? In those few minutes, you are doing what 99% of people never do. You are redrawing the map of your own mind. Science proves that the way you start your morning affects your hormones, energy, and productivity for the entire day. Early risers tend to have more stable cortisol levels, clearer thinking, and better emotional control. But the real power is not in the time, it is in the meaning. Waking up early is your declaration that you control your time instead of letting it control you. Epictetus said, "Do not say you will be a good person. Act as one right now." Every morning is a chance to act as the person you want to become. There's no magic formula that makes you disciplined. There are only hundreds of mornings where you choose to get out of bed while others stay under the blanket. To begin, you do not need to change your entire life. Just wake up 15 minutes earlier than today. Spend 5 minutes in silence, 5 minutes journaling, 5 minutes breathing deeply. Do not turn on your phone. Do not let the world in before you are ready. After 1 week, you will feel different. After 1 month, you will not want to go back. You will realize that morning silence is a form of strength. The most successful people in the world, leaders, creators, athletes, share one thing in common. They start early, not because they are better, but because they understand the power of uninterrupted space. In a noisy world, the person who can live in silence is the one who is truly free. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." When you sleep in for 30 extra minutes, you are not just losing time. You are losing a piece of the person you want to become. Every morning is a battle, and your first victory is not against the world, but against yourself. Ask yourself, do you start your day like a leader or a slave to old habits? Do you control time or let it sweep you away? The difference between two people is not luck. It is how they begin their day. One wakes up in chaos, the other with purpose. One reacts, the other acts. Your micro action tonight. Place your phone far from your bed. Prepare a notebook and a pen. When the alarm rings, stand up within 5 seconds, drink water, sit down, and write your first 3 lines of the day. It does not need to be perfect, it only needs to begin. Remember, you are not waking up early to prove anything to the world. You do it to prove something to yourself. Every early morning is a small victory, and hundreds of small victories build a strong life. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "Morning is the time for action. Do not waste the light." If you are serious about this journey, start tomorrow. Do not wait for motivation. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Comment below, "I rise before the world." That is your promise, that from today, you choose to be the initiator, the leader, the one who begins. Every sunrise is a chance to be reborn, and only those who dare to rise while the world sleeps will ever see their true power. Habit 2, 10 minutes of stillness every day. If the first habit helps you master your morning, the second helps you master your mind. In a world full of noise, the Stoics understood that true strength lies in stillness, not the silence of a quiet room, but the silence within your own head, where nothing can disturb you unless you allow it to. Have you noticed how rarely you are truly alone these days? Whether at home, in a cafe, or walking down the street, There is always something filling the space: music, videos, news, social media. You are afraid of silence because in silence you are forced to face yourself, the thoughts you have avoided, the fears you have buried, the emotions you have not yet named. That is why most people go through life never truly knowing who they are. Seneca once wrote, "No man can find peace unless he has been alone with himself." The Stoics knew that the mind is like water. When it is stirred by emotions and information, it cannot reflect clearly. Only when it becomes still does everything become visible. When you are still, you see things as they are. You stop reacting, and start understanding. Imagine each morning after waking up, you sit quietly for 10 minutes. No phone, no music, no talking. Just your breath, your heartbeat, and your awareness. At first, those 10 minutes may feel endless. Your mind will scream, check your phone, read your messages, do something. Do not just sit here. But if you push past the discomfort, something magical happens. Your thoughts slow down, your breathing deepens, your body relaxes, and your mind becomes clear. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters." When you practice stillness, you are training the space between the event and your reaction. You no longer explode in anger when someone insults you or panic when things go wrong. You observe, then respond consciously. That is the mental freedom the Stoics sought. Many people think meditation is a luxury, only for those with time. In truth, 10 minutes of stillness is a form of combat training. In those 10 minutes, you fight your urge to react, your impatience, your need for constant stimulation. You are training your mind the same way a warrior trains the body. Modern science calls this mental training. Training your brain to reduce stress, improve focus, and make better decisions. Studies from Harvard show that just 10 minutes of daily stillness can thicken the parts of the brain responsible for calmness and self-control. In other words, you literally become stronger, not in your muscles, but in your mind. The modern world rewards those who act fast, talk loud, and react quickly, but the long-term winners are those who know when to pause. While others argue, you breathe. While they panic, you observe. When they are lost in confusion, you remain calm, because you know nothing outside can control you unless you give it permission. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Do not get swept up in the fear of the crowd. Keep the peace within you. That is your fortress." Make your 10 minutes of morning stillness your fortress. That is where you recharge, reconnect with your values, and prepare your spirit for the day ahead. Your micro-action: choose a specific time each day, ideally right after waking up or before bed. Sit in a quiet space, close your eyes, and take 3 deep breaths. Focus on your inhale and exhale. When thoughts appear, simply notice them. Do not judge. Start with 5 minutes, then increase to 10. It does not need to be perfect. It only needs to be consistent. After a few days, you will realize something powerful. Calmness does not come from escaping life, but from facing it with a trained mind. When your mind is still, the world becomes clear. When emotions no longer control you, your decisions become wise. And when you control your breath, you control yourself. The Stoics did not seek peace by running away from chaos. They found peace within it. Every 10 minutes of stillness you practice is another layer of inner strength. In a noisy world, the calmest person is always the strongest. Remember, stillness is not weakness. It is absolute confidence in yourself. While others speak to prove their worth, you simply exist. While they shout to be heard, you stay silent to understand. That is the power of a mind that has learned control. Seneca once said, "There is no favorable wind for the sailor who does not know where he is going." Stillness helps you steer your ship again. Each morning, give yourself 10 minutes of silence, not to hide, but to remember that you are the one steering. Ask yourself, have I truly listened to myself today? If the answer is no, start now. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and feel. You do not need perfection, only honesty. When you finish your first 10 minutes of silence, write down what you felt. Write one sentence affirming that you are reclaiming control of your mind. Do not let the world define you. You define the world through the way you see it. Comment below, "I choose calm over chaos." That is not just an affirmation, that is a commitment that every day, in the middle of noise and confusion, you choose peace. Not because life is easy, but because you have trained yourself to be stronger than any storm. Habit 3, daily Stoic journaling. There is one thing that all great thinkers, leaders, and warriors throughout history have in common. They write, not to show off, not to publish. They write to speak honestly with themselves. Writing is a ritual of self-awareness, a way to confront the chaos inside the mind. For the Stoic, writing every day is not optional. It is a pillar of mental discipline. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations not for others, but for himself. They were private notes he used to remind his own mind what truly matters, what to ignore, and how to respond to adversity with reason. He wrote to correct himself, not to prove anything. His words have lived for almost 2,000 years, not because they are fancy, but because they are real. When you write, you pull blurry thoughts out of your head and put them onto the page. You turn clouds of emotion into something you can see. Once it is written down, you can clearly see the source of your fear, your anger, your procrastination. No more, I do not know why I feel this way, because now it is all in front of you. Writing gives you understanding, and understanding is the first step to control. Seneca said that no one can heal without first looking directly at the wound. Writing is the act of looking straight at the wounds of your mind. You cannot change what you refuse to see. When you write every day, you are performing an inner examination, a kind of gym for the soul. If you train your body to become stronger, you write to train your mind. A simple Stoic journaling routine has incredible power when done consistently. Every morning or evening, spend 5 to 10 minutes answering 3 questions in your notebook. What am I grateful for today? What can I control today? What do I need to let go of in order to keep my mind at peace? These 3 questions are a compass for the modern Stoic. The first protects you from constant dissatisfaction by reminding you that you already have more than you think. The second brings you back to your center, reminding you that you cannot control outcomes, only your actions. The third helps you release the small things, a comment, a mistake, an expectation. Each day, those 3 simple lines are 3 steps toward a cleaner mind. Epictetus said you should audit your mind each day the way a merchant audits his goods. That's the real meaning of journaling. You are not writing to complain. You are writing to take inventory. You are checking whether you lived according to your principles or just reacted, whether you stayed steady or were dragged around by your emotions. Daily writing reveals your patterns, the ones you would never notice if you kept everything in your head. Modern life keeps your mind constantly crowded with almost no room for deep thought. Journaling is how you create space. Each sentence is a slower breath in the middle of the rush. When you write by hand, your slower pace forces your mind to stop and organize itself. You cannot truly write and be fully distracted at the same time. That moment is meditation in motion. Science supports this. Research from universities such as the University of Texas has shown that expressive writing can reduce stress, improve focus, and strengthen the immune system. Writing is not only a mental exercise, it is biological healing. Your body and mind both relax when heavy thoughts are given a clear place to go. You do not need to be a good writer. Stoic journaling does not need to look beautiful, follow grammar rules, or impress anyone. It only needs to be honest. One sentence is enough if it is true. I feel tired. I controlled my anger today. I'm grateful I still have time. Each line is a small brick in the structure of your character. After a few weeks, when you read back, you will see your transformation. Your weak days, your strong days, your lessons forgotten and remembered. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that what we think shapes our soul. When you write, you are sculpting your soul with words, quietly, patiently, without applause. This is the work of an adult mind, silent, consistent, disciplined growth. Your micro-action. Tonight, before you sleep, write 3 lines answering the 3 Stoic questions. Use pen and paper, not your phone. Treat your notebook as a sacred place where no one else touches, where only you and your mind meet. When you write, write as if you are speaking directly to your own soul. Over time, you will notice something powerful. You no longer need others to listen in order to feel lighter. You longer need to run away to find peace. The answers were always inside you. You simply had never been quiet enough to hear them. Journaling helps you hear yourself more clearly every single day. Seneca said that when you speak with yourself, you are in the company the wisest person you know. Writing is that conversation. It turns you from someone pulled around by the world into someone who leads himself. It turns emotional chaos into clarity. It turns an ordinary day into one more step toward self-mastery. Do not wait for the right mood to write. The worst days are the days you need it most. When you write in pain, you are healing. When you write in anger, you are calming. When you write in stillness, you are building a foundation of peace. From today on, treat journaling as a non-negotiable ritual, like brushing your teeth, but for your mind. One page, one pen, one small light, and a few minutes of absolute honesty. That is enough to change the way you see your life. Comment below, I write to know myself. That is your vow, that every day, whether short or long, you will spend a few minutes in conversation with yourself. Because once you truly understand who you are, nothing can pull you off your path. Writing is discipline, writing is freedom, and writing is the way of the true Stoic. Habit 4. Cold showers as a Stoic ritual. If you want to test your real strength, step into cold water in the morning. No battlefield, no enemy, just the water hitting your skin. Instantly, every weak part of your mind wakes up. You hear that familiar voice. You do not need this. Start tomorrow. It is too cold today. That is the voice of comfort, the most dangerous enemy of anyone who wants to grow. The Stoics did not seek discomfort because they enjoyed suffering. They chose discomfort to become stronger. Epictetus taught that hardship is the test that reveals who you are. When you willingly face something uncomfortable, you are training your mind not to collapse when life becomes difficult. In a world designed for convenience, choosing cold water in the morning may seem like a small thing, but it carries a massive message. You are taking back control of your body and your mind. Think about how most people start their day. They run away from every bit of discomfort. They hit the snooze button, stand under hot water, curl back into warmth, and escape into their phone for a quick hit of pleasure. But you, if you are still listening, are not here to live like everyone else. You are here to train. Each morning, that cold shower is an invitation to wake up fully. It does not need your words, it only needs your decision to step in. At first, your body will fight, your breath will spike, your heart will race, your mind will scream for you to stop. That is the exact moment of training. When you learn to slow your breath, stay present, and remain in the discomfort, you are building the ability to stay calm in crisis. The cold is no longer an enemy. It becomes a teacher, shaping your discipline, your resilience, and your self-control. Marcus Aurelius wrote that we should love what life sends us even when it hurts, because it shapes our soul. A cold shower is your way of learning to love discomfort. You are not at war with it, you accept it and rise above it. When you can stand in cold water without panicking inside, you are building armor for your mind that will protect you from many other fears in life. You do not need to start extreme. Think like a strategic warrior. On day 1, finish your normal shower with 15 seconds of cold water. On day 2, make it 30 seconds. By day 7, you can stand in cold water for 2 to 3 minutes. During the entire process, keep your focus on your breathing. Inhale deeply through your nose, exhale slowly through your mouth. Feel your body react, but keep your mind steady. That is victory. Modern research confirms what the Stoics understood long ago. Cold exposure activates your nervous system, boosts endorphins, improves circulation, reduces inflammation, increases alertness, and trains your ability to handle stress. But the real value is mental. You are teaching yourself to respond calmly instead of panicking. That skill follows you into work, relationships, and every challenge you face. In an age where people do everything to avoid discomfort, the ones who face it become rare and powerful. Every cold shower you take is a statement. I am not afraid of sensation. I control my response. I do not run from life. Very few people can say that with their actions. You can. Seneca warned that a life of constant luxury weakens a person's character. By choosing the harder path on purpose, you remind yourself that you do not need everything to be soft and easy in order to feel strong. Your confidence comes not from comfort, but from your ability to adapt. When you know you can handle cold water every morning, you know you can handle difficult conversations, setbacks, pressure, and fear. This habit is more than physical. It is meditation in motion. In those first seconds when the water hits your skin, all your usual thoughts disappear. There is only breath, only the present moment. You cannot obsess about yesterday or worry about tomorrow when every nerve is awake. The cold drags you into the now, where body and mind finally move as one. That is the awakened state the Stoics aimed for. Your micro action. Tomorrow morning, turn on the cold water and place your hand under it for 10 seconds. You do not need a full cold shower yet. Just stand there, feel it, breathe deeply, and allow yourself to smile. That sharp, shocking sensation, that fast breath, that rising heartbeat, that is your first lesson. The feeling comes, you observe it, and then it passes. No drama, no escape, just awareness. After a week, you will notice more energy, more clarity, and more importantly, more trust in yourself. You will realize that most of your fears were only stories in your head. The moment you step into the cold, you prove that you can do things your comfort-seeking mind tries to avoid. Epictetus said that no one is stronger than the person who can endure what they fear. When you do what others refuse to do, you create a different identity for yourself. The weak will say, there is no need for that. The strong will say, I choose this because I choose to be stronger. And when the cold water hits you, remember, you are not only washing your body, you are cleansing your mind. Each drop is a reminder that you control your reaction. Each breath is proof of the strength you are building. From now on, stop fearing discomfort. Treat it as training. Every morning when you stand in front of that cold water, remember Marcus Aurelius's call. Do what is right, even when your body resists. That is how you live Stoicism, not just talk about it. Comment below, I conquer discomfort, because from today forward, you no longer run from the cold, from difficulty, or from yourself. You face it, accept it, and move through it. And once you can stand firm in the cold, you will understand. No challenge in life can defeat a mind that has learned to stay calm inside discomfort. Habit 5. Do one hard thing. Every day, modern life trains people to fear difficulty. We choose the easy path, instant comfort, and tasks that do not stretch us. But in avoiding what is hard, we slowly abandon our real strength. The Stoics understood a simple truth. The thing you keep avoiding is exactly where you need to go. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The obstacle is the way." That's not just a quote, it is a rule for living. Every obstacle, every difficult task is an opportunity to train discipline, focus, and courage. Every time you choose to face instead of run, you expand your limits. Look at your own life. How many times have you known exactly what you needed to do, but delayed it because you were not ready? Making a difficult phone call, starting a project, apologizing to someone, or simply working out. You knew it was right, but fear and laziness whispered, tomorrow is fine. Tomorrow became next week. Next week became next year. Then one day you wake up and realize you are still the same person, just more tired and more disappointed. Epictetus said, do not wish for life to be easier, wish to be stronger. Hard things do not come to punish you, they come to train you. The Stoic does not seek comfort, the Stoic seeks growth. If you do something hard every day, everything else starts to feel lighter. Doing something hard is not always about dramatic acts. Often, the hard thing is simply the thing you are running from. It might be a conversation you keep avoiding, a decision you refuse to make, a bad habit you have not cut off. Deep down, you already know what your hard thing is. No one needs to tell you. You only need enough courage to face it. Seneca wrote, no one becomes strong without having suffered. If you want to be a warrior, learn to lean into what makes you uncomfortable. Every day, choose one thing that scares you or makes you want to procrastinate, and do it first. It might be a heavy workout, an email you're afraid to send, a task you keep pushing away. Do the hardest thing first, and the rest of the day feels like momentum. The world tells you to follow your feelings, but feelings change every hour. If you only act when you feel like it, you will never go far. The Stoic does not wait for the right mood. The Stoic acts on principles. Doing the right thing is not optional. It is a duty. That quiet consistency is what creates real freedom. Remember, doing nothing is also a choice, but it is the choice that makes you weaker. Every time you avoid the hard thing, you tell your brain, I am not strong enough for this. Every time you do it anyway, you rewire your mind. I am someone who acts even when afraid. That is how you rebuild yourself, one difficult action at a time. Science agrees. Choosing hard actions such as intense training, cold showers, or speaking in front of others helps increase natural dopamine in a healthier way, strengthens your stress response, and improves your decision-making. The more often you face difficulty on purpose, the less easily stress controls you. You become mentally tougher and emotionally calmer. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, if it is possible for another, it is possible for you. So when you see someone doing what you fear, do not put them on a pedestal. Take it as a challenge. They are not a different species. They have simply done their hard thing long enough to become someone stronger. Your micro-action. Write down one thing you have been delaying for at least a week, then commit to doing it within the next 24 hours, no matter how you feel. If it makes you nervous, that is proof you are choosing the right direction. Each time you complete one hard thing, reward yourself with something simple but powerful, your own respect. Not applause from others, but the feeling that you can trust yourself. Imagine this. For the next 30 days, you do one hard thing each day. How different would you become? Those 30 actions would not only move your life forward, they would shape your identity. You would stop seeing yourself as someone who hesitates and start seeing yourself as someone who follows through. That is the foundation of real strength. There are two types of people in this world, those who run from difficulty and those who walk into it. The first live inside fear. The second live inside power. Which one do you want to be? Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." The fear is rarely in the task, it is in your mind. Once you start, fear begins to disappear. Strength does not show up before you act, it appears after you move. And on the days you feel exhausted, remember this. The hard thing you do today is preparation for something greater tomorrow. Every strong person has had weak moments. The difference is they did not let fear choose their actions. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself each morning, "Today I will face difficulties, but I will not be defeated by them." Make that your line. Each time you feel fear rise, whisper to yourself, "This is my chance to become stronger." You do not need to start with something dramatic. Choose one thing that makes you uncomfortable and do it every day. As you repeat this, you will realize that nothing feels impossible anymore. Life does not become easier. You become far stronger. Comment below, "I seek growth, not comfort," because from today onward, you no longer run from difficulty. You choose to face it. You understand that the road to freedom always passes through discomfort, and each day you do one hard thing, you step closer to the strongest, most disciplined version of yourself, a true Stoic warrior. Habit 6, discipline your eating. It sounds simple, but the way you eat reflects the way you live. The Stoics believed that discipline begins at the table, where most people quietly surrender to their cravings without realizing it. And you can talk all day about self-control, reason, and mental toughness, but if you cannot control yourself in front of a plate of food, how will you control yourself in front of bigger temptations in life? Seneca wrote, "A man who is a slave to his stomach cannot be a master of his mind." In our age, where food, coffee, sugar, and convenience are always within reach, eating has become the first real test of self-mastery. We do not only eat to live anymore, we eat to escape fatigue, to numb emotions, to fill emptiness. That is how many people lose control while still believing they have it. Pay attention. How many times have you eaten not because you were hungry, but because you were sad, bored, or stressed? How often do you reach for something sweet when work feels heavy, or eat quickly with your phone in your hand, or snack mindlessly while watching shows? Every time you do this, you are strengthening the habit of living by emotion instead of intention. The Stoic does not deny emotion, but the Stoic refuses to be ruled by it. Eating is the perfect training ground for that. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If something makes you weaker, you must learn to restrain yourself with it." Eating is not just biology. It is a spiritual practice. When you sit down to eat, you are not only refueling your body, you are practicing presence. Eat like a warrior, slowly, deliberately, with gratitude. Do not eat only to satisfy craving. Eat to fuel strength. Start small. Do not eat with your phone in your hand. Look at your food, notice the smell and the taste. Chew slowly. When you focus on eating, you are training your attention. You will realize you need less than you think. Your body does not demand excess. Your restless mind does. When you learn to control that at the table, you begin to control it everywhere else. The Stoics lived simply not because they were poor, but because they knew that excess comfort weakens the mind. Seneca described how he would sometimes eat plain food and sleep on the floor to remind himself, if everything is taken away, I will still be fine. Meanwhile, many of us become irritated if a meal is late by 30 minutes. When comfort becomes a requirement, we become its prisoner. Epictetus said, freedom does not come from getting what you want, but from cutting the chains of your needs. When you can say that is enough in front of a delicious meal, you are reclaiming freedom. When you can skip a meal to rest your body and sharpen your discipline, you are proving that you are not dependent. When you turn down junk food, you are not only protecting your health, you are reinforcing your will. Modern psychology calls this delayed gratification, the ability to postpone pleasure. People who build this skill tend to have better health, better performance, and stronger emotional control. Every time you say no to another dessert, another sugary drink, another mindless snack, you are not losing joy. You are gaining power. A Stoic meal is not about noise, rush, or luxury. It is a moment to practice three things: gratitude, restraint, and presence. Gratitude because you have food while many do not. Restraint so that food does not own you. Presence so that you fully experience what you are given. Your micro action: at your next meal, put your phone away, sit up straight, take 3 deep breaths before your first bite. As you eat, chew slowly, no scrolling, no background chaos. When you feel about 80% full, stop. Not because you are punishing yourself, but because you choose to stop. And in that moment, smile slightly and tell yourself, I control myself, not my hunger. This habit looks small, but its impact runs deep. After a few weeks, you will feel lighter, clearer, and more confident. You will see that you can say no to things that control other people: junk food, alcohol, mindless snacking, emotional eating. When you master something as basic as eating, you are learning to master your entire life. Marcus Aurelius said, once you have conquered yourself, no battle can truly scare you. Every meal is a small battle. Most people treat it like an unconscious routine. The Stoic treats it as a training session. Remember, discipline is not self-punishment. It is the highest form of self-respect. When you choose better food, choose moderation, and choose to honor your body, you are saying to yourself, I am worth being strong. If you ever thought that controlling your eating is only about physical health, think again. It is the foundation of your character. A person who cannot control a spoon will struggle to control emotions, money, or decisions. And when you feel like giving up, remember Seneca's words, nothing great is built in comfort. Every time you turn down instant satisfaction, you lay another brick for long-term strength. Tomorrow, when you sit down to eat, ask yourself, do I eat to live with intention, or do I live to eat without control? If your answer is, I eat to live on purpose, then you are walking the Stoic path. Comment below, I control myself, not my hunger. That is your vow, that you will no longer let emotions, habits, or cravings drive you. You eat to fuel your strength, not to cover your weakness. Because the Stoic understands that real freedom does not come from having every option, but from choosing the right one. Habit 7, go 24 hours without complaining. There is one thing the Stoics saw as the enemy of self-mastery: the habit of complaining. Complaining is the most subtle form of weakness. It is how a person quietly declares, I do not control my life. You might think that venting your frustration is harmless, but every complaint is a stone you drop into your own backpack, making every step heavier. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if something is outside your control, complaining is useless. If it is within your control, then act. That one idea sums up the Stoic way of living. Complaining does not change reality. It only strengthens the mindset of a victim, the belief that the world owes you something, but the world does not owe you. It only reflects the energy you bring to it. Watch yourself for 24 hours. How many times do you complain about work, about people, about the weather, or even about yourself? How many times do you repeat lines like, I am so tired, I am too busy, I wish things were easier? These phrases sound normal, but they quietly drain your strength. Every complaint is a message to your brain, I am powerless. and over time, your brain believes it. Seneca said that the more a person complains, the weaker they are. The Stoic chooses silence over whining, action over blame. They understand that no one can truly make them suffer unless they hand over that power. When you stop complaining, you are taking your power back. You are saying, I am responsible. Modern life makes complaining easier than ever. We have social media where anyone can broadcast dissatisfaction in seconds. But the more you complain, the more negative energy you create, not only for yourself, but for everyone around you. The Stoic understands the energy you send out is the energy that returns to you. Epictetus taught, no one harms you without your consent. When you complain about someone, you're giving them control over your emotions. When you complain about a situation, you forget that you still control your response. You cannot control the wind, but you can always adjust your sails. So here's your challenge. Go 24 hours without complaining. No complaints about work, no complaints about traffic, no complaints about people. Every time you feel like complaining, pause and replace it with an action. If you can change it, change it. If you cannot change it, accept it. If you cannot accept it, walk away from it. There is no fourth option called complain and stay the same. At first, you will be shocked by how often you want to complain. You will realize you are almost addicted to expressing negativity. But once you become aware, everything shifts. Your silence is no longer weakness. It becomes strength. Every time you hold back a complaint, you are training a mental muscle, the muscle of calm and control. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, receive whatever comes as if you had chosen it. That is the highest Stoic mindset. They do not whine. They do not curse reality. They accept, then respond with intention. When you start to treat every inconvenience as training, you no longer see a reason to complain. You see a chance to grow. Imagine one full day without complaining. Your mind would feel lighter. You would stop circling the same problems with the same words. You would have more energy to solve, build, and move. People around you would feel the difference. One person who refuses to complain can change the energy of an entire room. Modern science calls this neuroplasticity. Your brain rewires based on what you repeat. Every complaint strengthens the negative pathway. Every time you choose silence and action, you strengthen the pathway of ownership. After a few weeks, your brain really changes. You do not just try to think positive. You naturally become someone stronger, calmer, and harder to shake. Your micro-action, wear a bracelet or a rubber band on your right wrist. Every time you catch yourself complaining, move it to your left wrist. Your goal is to keep it on your right wrist for a full 24 hours. You will be surprised by how challenging this is, and that is exactly why it's powerful. Once you complete one day without complaining, you will feel as if a stone has been lifted off your shoulders. You realize your energy is no longer wasted on useless words. You begin to focus on what you can do, not on what you cannot control. Epictetus said, "It is not events that harm you, but the way you think about them." When you shift your thinking, your problems feel lighter. When you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" you move from victim to warrior. And warriors do not complain, they move. If someone asks, "How do I become more stoic?" the simplest answer is, stop complaining. Because the moment your mouth becomes quiet, your mind becomes clear, and in that clarity, strength is born. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not complain that life is hard. Be grateful that you are strong enough to face it. Make that your code." Tomorrow, when something goes wrong, instead of complaining, take a breath and say in your mind, "Thank you for the lesson." Comment below, "I act, I do not complain." That is your promise, that no matter how chaotic the world becomes, you will choose calm over negativity, action over blame, because the Stoic knows real strength is not in controlling everything, but in mastering your response to anything. Habit 8. Give your full focus to what you are doing. In an age of constant noise, focus is a superpower. The world is not suffering from a lack of information, it is suffering from a lack of attention. Most people are not truly working, they are just switching between dozens of small tasks, never going deep, never fully living in any moment. The Stoics understood, if you cannot control your attention, the outside world will own you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Perform every action as if it were your last." A simple line, but it defines the Stoic approach to work and to life. Every action, no matter how small, deserves your full presence. No distraction, no rushing, no half-hearted effort. You do it with respect, clarity, and commitment. Ask yourself, when was the last time you gave your full focus to one single thing? One work session without checking your phone, one meal without a screen, one conversation where you truly listened. We have forgotten how to stay in the present. The mind is always jumping ahead or drifting back, and that is why we feel exhausted. Seneca said, "Nothing truly belongs to us if our mind is elsewhere." You can sit with your family while your mind is buried in emails. You can sit at your desk while your thoughts wander everywhere except the task. In the end, you are nowhere. The Stoic understands that presence is power. When you give your whole attention to one thing, you are not only more effective, you are more at peace. Focus is not just a work skill. It is a way of living. Without it, you cannot enjoy anything fully. You cannot really taste your food, feel the warmth of the sun, or absorb the words of someone you love. Life passes and you realize you were rarely there for it. The Stoics saw distraction as a sickness of the weak mind. They trained themselves to do one thing at a time, in quiet. They did not glorify multitasking, and because they knew it is an illusion. Your mind can only be in one place at one moment. Every time you switch, you lose energy. Every attempt to do many things at once is practice in being scattered. Modern research supports this. Studies from institutions such as Stanford University show that heavy multitaskers have lower productivity, weaker memory, and higher stress. Each time you jump between tasks, your brain needs time to reset. That means every quick check of your phone can cost you many minutes of deep focus. So the Stoic practices deep work. Choose one task, remove everything else, pour your whole mind into it. Fewer tasks, more depth, less noise, more impact. When you work like this, you unlock a different level of power. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Do not let your mind drift like a ship without a captain. Bring it back to the work in front of you." That simple reminder is enough. Each time you catch yourself drifting, ask, what is my real job right now? If it is writing, then only write. If it is listening, then only listen. If it is resting, then truly rest. Your micro action. Choose one 90-minute block each day for deep work. In that time, no phone, no social media, no messages, no random browsing. Just you and the single most important task of your day. Let your mind sink fully into it until time begins to disappear and you enter flow. When you finish, step away, breathe deeply, and feel the quiet pride of having been fully present. The Stoic understands that real work is not about looking busy, it is about being intentional. When you give one task your full focus, you no longer obsess over the outcome because you know you have given your best effort. Whatever result comes is honest. Epictetus said, "No one can walk two paths at once." If your attention is split between your goal and your fear, your progress will always be weak. Choose your task, your direction, your action, and commit your full mind to it. That one decision already separates you from most of the world. Remember, focus is not about fighting distractions after they appear. It is about removing them before you begin. Before your deep work, clear your space, close extra tabs, silence notifications, set a simple target. When you design your environment for focus, you design your life for progress. A Stoic warrior does not allow his mind to be ruled by noise. He understands that every moment of pure focus is a brick in the wall of his greatness. Every moment of distraction is a small crack. No one collapses in a single day. They collapse one notification, one interruption, one broken focus at a time. Seneca said, "Belong to yourself before you belong to anyone else." When you focus, that is what you are doing. You stop being a puppet pulled by every sound and message, and you return to your own path. Try living one day with real focus. One day where you do what's in front of you fully. No constant app switching, no checking your phone every 5 minutes, just single tasking with calm intensity. You will feel time slow down. You will feel stronger, clearer, and more in control. Marcus Aurelius told himself, when you give yourself completely to each act, You create a complete life. That is the purpose of this habit, not just higher productivity, but a deeper quality of living. Comment below, I give my full focus, because from today, you refuse to let your mind drift in 100 directions. You choose presence, you choose depth, you choose to treat each action as if it truly matters. And when you live like that, you discover something powerful. Peace does not come from doing less. It comes from being fully alive in whatever you are doing. Habit 9, end your day with gratitude. All day long, you fight through work, emotions, pressure, and hundreds of small decisions. When night comes, most people let themselves sink into exhaustion, frustration, and regret. But the Stoic understands this truth. The way you end your day matters just as much as the way you start it. The evening is not the time to collapse and give up. It is the time to reflect, to give thanks, and to clear your mind. Seneca wrote that when the day is over, you should sit down and ask yourself, what did I do well? What did I do wrong? What can I do better? This is not self-punishment. It is a ritual of mental cleansing. Just as a warrior cleans his sword after battle, the Stoic uses the final moments of the day to wipe away leftover worry, noise, and emotional weight. When you practice gratitude, you are not denying hardship. You're balancing your perspective. You cannot control everything that happens in a day, but you can always control how you look back at it. When you choose to end your day with gratitude, you train one of the greatest powers a human being can have, the ability to find peace in any circumstance. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to be grateful in the morning that he was still alive, able to think, to love, and to act. But gratitude is not only for the morning. It needs to be anchored at night. Every evening, spend 5 minutes reviewing your day and write down 3 things you are grateful for, no matter how small. It could be a warm cup of coffee, a kind smile from a stranger, or simply the fact that you made it through a hard day without giving up. Gratitude does not require something miraculous. It only requires attention. When you guide your mind toward what is good, you remind yourself that even in a harsh world, life is still worth living. Epictetus taught that happiness does not come from having more, but from appreciating what you already have. The Stoic does not count possessions. The Stoic counts lessons. They do not ask, why do I have to endure this? And they ask, how is this shaping me? That shift turns adversity into opportunity, failure into a teacher, and life into a training ground for the soul. The habit of gratitude at the end of the day helps you fall asleep in peace instead of heaviness. When your head touches the pillow with a grateful heart, your nervous system relaxes, your heartbeat slows, and your mind settles. You are no longer obsessed with what you did not achieve. You are grounded in what you did receive. Many psychological studies show that people who write down what they are grateful for at night sleep better, feel happier, and develop greater emotional stability. The modern world trains you to always want more. More money, more recognition, more status, more everything. The Stoic trains himself in the opposite direction, to want less so he can feel enough. Gratitude breaks the chain of comparison. It allows you to see the value in simple things. That is where real freedom begins. Picture this. At night, instead of lying in bed scrolling through your phone, you sit down in a dimly lit room. You open your journal and write 3 good things from the day. You write by hand, slowly, without polishing. The first line may feel awkward, but then you feel your chest loosen, your breath soften. The day no longer feels like a blur. You end it with a quiet sense of victory, not because it was perfect, but because you were aware and thankful. The Stoic understands that gratitude is not only a feeling, it is a discipline of the mind. It does not always appear on its own. You must practice it. On good days, gratitude comes easily. On bad days, when you are hurt, misunderstood, or disappointed, that is when you need it most. Whisper to yourself, I am grateful for this challenge. It is a chance to grow stronger. In that moment, you rise above the pain. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations that whatever happens can be accepted with grace. For him, gratitude was not passive, it was an active way of living, accepting reality without bitterness, seeing light even inside the dark. Modern science calls this reframing. By writing down what you are grateful for, you retrain how your brain responds to stress. Instead of automatically searching for what went wrong, it begins to search for meaning, lessons, and what still remains. Practice long enough, your mind starts answering hardship with stability instead of panic. You do not just talk about gratitude, you become a grateful person. Your micro action. Before you go to sleep tonight, write 3 things you are grateful for today. 1 about yourself, 1 about another person, and 1 about life. If it feels difficult, start with the simplest truth. I am grateful that I am still breathing. Write every night, even when you are tired, even when it is only 1 line. When you finish, take a deep breath, close your eyes, and tell yourself, today I did my best. After a few weeks, you will feel a quiet shift. You complain less, you judge less, you feel calmer, you begin to notice the beauty in small things. A ray of sunlight, a brief conversation, a safe trip home. That is the heart of real happiness. It does not come from owning more, but from finally seeing what is already there. Seneca wrote that true wealth is not having many things, but needing very little. When you live with gratitude, you step out of the endless race. You stop chasing what everyone else has. You return to yourself and realize that most of what you need for peace has been with you all along. Practice this tonight. Turn off the lights. Sit in the quiet. Think of 3 things you are grateful for. They do not need to be big, a breath, a friend, a normal day. That is enough. As gratitude spreads through you, you will feel your mind soften and your spirit rest. If you want to seal this habit, comment, I end my day with gratitude. That is your promise that you will not close your day with bitterness or exhaustion, but with appreciation. The Stoic knows that each day, even the hard ones, is a gift. Gratitude is how you honor that gift. Habit 10, let go of what is beyond your control. This is the hardest habit, but also the one that sets you free. Every habit before this one, discipline, stillness, focus, gratitude, prepares you for it. Staying calm in a world you cannot control. If you do not learn to let go, your effort to control everything will only lead you deeper into frustration. Epictetus, once a slave who became a philosopher, said, "Some things are within our power and some are not." It sounds simple, but it is the foundation of Stoic philosophy. Suffering does not come from events themselves. It comes from trying to control what cannot be controlled. When you demand that life must follow your script, you are picking a fight with the universe. That is a fight you will never win. Think of the things you worry about, the weather, what people think of you, the outcome of a project, the changes in the world. You can give your best effort, but you cannot command all results. The problem is that you do not only want to do well, you also want guarantees. When life refuses to obey, you feel anger, fear, and disappointment. The Stoic refuses to live like that. The Stoic understands that the need to control everything is an illusion, and acceptance is true strength. Marcus Aurelius, in the middle of war and political chaos, reminded himself, "I cannot control the storm, but I can control the oar." That is the voice of a person who owns himself. He did not run from responsibility, but he did not waste energy on what was outside his reach. He focused entirely on his own judgments, choices, and actions because that is where human power lives. When you let go of what is beyond your control, you are not giving up. You are stopping a useless fight. You stop pouring energy into things that ignore your wishes, and you invest fully in what you can actually shape. The Stoics called this the dichotomy of control. 2 domains, inner and outer. One belongs to you, one does not. Wisdom is putting all your effort into the first and meeting the second with calm acceptance. Imagine you are driving in heavy rain. You cannot stop the rain, you cannot clear the traffic, but you can slow down, turn on your lights, and keep both hands steady on the wheel. When you accept that difference, your frustration disappears. You do what you can, and you release what you cannot. That is the freedom the Stoics promise, freedom inside, even when outside is chaos. Seneca said that pain does not live in events, but in how you view them. If you see life as an enemy, everything will injure you. If you see life as a teacher, everything will shape you. When you drop your rigid expectations, you unlock your ability to adapt. In a world that constantly changes, adaptability is ultimate strength. Modern psychology agrees. The more people try to control what they simply cannot, the more they suffer anxiety, burnout, and hopelessness. But when they shift their focus to their own behavior, how they eat,
how they work, how they respond, their
well-being and performance increase. The Stoics saw all this long before the research. They simply watched their own minds. Start practicing with small things. When someone behaves badly, instead of asking either why are they like this, ask, what is the right way for me to respond? When your plan fails, instead of why did this happen to me, ask what can I learn from this? When life throws a challenge at you, take a breath and say, this is my chance to practice what I claim to believe. Marcus Aurelius would often end his day by acknowledging that he faced difficulty but still kept his peace. That is the state of a free mind. His life was full of crisis, but he refused to let the storms outside decide the weather inside. Your micro action tonight, draw 2 columns. On the left, write things I can control. On the right, write things I cannot control. Fill them honestly. Your choices, your effort, your words, your attitude go in the first. Other people's opinions, outcomes, accidents, and many decisions of others go in the second. When you are done, cross out the second column. From now on, it does not get your energy. Each time your mind starts to worry, ask, which column does this belong to? If it is in the second, release it. Letting go is not easy, but it is the doorway to Rio de Janeiro. Every time you choose acceptance over resistance, you grow stronger. Every time you stop demanding that life must always be smooth, you become calmer. The Stoic is not the person who avoids hardship. The Stoic is the person whose mind does not break when hardship arrives. Epictetus said that when you cannot change your circumstances, you can always change your viewpoint. Sometimes that is all you need. When your perspective shifts, your entire experience of life changes with it. Remember this, nothing is truly a total loss if you can turn it into a lesson. No failure is final if it deepens your wisdom. No hardship can destroy a person who has learned to release what is not his to control. Marcus Aurelius wrote, accept whatever comes, woven in the pattern of your destiny, and love it. This is not surrender and weakness. It is harmony with reality. The Stoic does not fight the river. The Stoic learns how to row with strength inside its current. From today onward, choose to live that way. When something does not go your way, pause, breathe, and remind yourself, I own my actions, my reactions, my attitude. The rest is not mine. And then, let the rest go. Comment below. I release what I cannot control. That is your promise that you will no longer let the world dictate your inner state. You will not waste your life wrestling with what cannot be changed. You will choose peace in acceptance and strength in responsibility. Because the Stoic understands this better than anyone, when you stop trying to control everything, you finally master yourself. And that is the greatest power a human being can ever hold. Identity. Transformation. Becoming the Stoic warrior. After 10 habits, you have walked a demanding path. Each habit is a small test, but together they form a rebirth. What matters most is not how many things you have done, but who you have become in the process. When you wake up early, you are not just getting up to work. You are declaring that you own your time. When you sit in stillness each morning, you are not just meditating. You are training your mind not to be dragged around by the world. When you journal, step into cold water, do hard things, eat with discipline, and stop complaining, you are building something no school can give you, the will of a free human being. Marcus Aurelius wrote that strength is not measured by how much power you have over others, but by how much control you have over yourself. Everything in this journey points to one truth: real power is internal. The Stoic does not need to appear impressive. The Stoic stands firm and quiet. The Stoic does not chase peace. The Stoic becomes peace. You may have spent years looking for motivation from outside sources, from videos, from speeches, from other people, but by now you understand that true motivation is built from the inner rituals you repeat every day. Small actions done consistently in silence have created a new identity. Someone who does not wait for perfect conditions, someone who takes action even when nobody is watching. Epictetus taught that we are not shaped by circumstances, but by how we respond to them. By practicing these 10 habits, you are rewriting your automatic responses. Instead of reacting on impulse, you respond with reason. Instead of freezing in fear, you observe and choose. Instead of waiting for inspiration, you choose discipline. In that choice, the identity of the Stoic warrior is formed. The Stoic warrior is not not emotionless. In fact, he feels deeply, but he does not let emotions rule his fate. He can feel anger, but does not act recklessly in anger. He can feel sadness, but does not let sadness consume him. He can fail, but does not abandon his belief in himself. He knows that nothing outside can steal his inner calm unless he hands it over. The modern Stoic is not a person who escapes society. The modern Stoic stands in the middle of this world without being shaken by it. He works in noise but carries stillness within. He faces failure without losing confidence. He reaches success without arrogance, feels pain without turning bitter. He understands that real strength is not domination, but self-mastery. You have learned to rise early, to train discipline, to practice gratitude, to release what you cannot control, and to stay composed in the face of chaos. Now these actions are no longer separate tricks. They merge into who you are. You are no longer trying stoicism. You are living it. You are no longer searching for peace. You are becoming peace. Look back at your path. Every time you defeated the urge to stay in bed, you defeated a weaker version of yourself. Every time you held back a complaint, you strengthened your character. Every time you chose action instead of delay, you moved closer to the person you are meant to be. Today, you are no longer standing at the starting line. Seneca wrote that we grow strong not by avoiding storms, but by walking through them. You have walked through the everyday storms of laziness, fear, distraction, and doubt. Each time you passed through, you gained another layer of armor, a deeper calm, a clearer mind. Now you see the world differently. When others complain, you recognize it as the reaction of an untrained mind. When others explode in anger, you see a chance to practice your composure. When others search for motivation, you return to your discipline. You no longer need to pretend. You are becoming the person you once admired. Marcus Aurelius said, "Do not waste time talking about what a good person should be one." That is the final threshold of this journey. The Stoic does not talk about transformation. The Stoic is the transformation. Imagine yourself 6 months from now, 1 year from now, no longer dragged by emotions, no longer lost in noise, no longer doubting your own path. Each day becomes a ritual, waking with purpose, working with full focus, ending with gratitude. You live as a warrior, calm, sharp, steady. Your micro action for today: stand in front of the mirror, look into your own eyes and say slowly, "I do not react, I act. I do not search for peace, I am peace. I do not chase strength, I am strength." Repeat it every morning. Not to impress anyone, but to remind yourself that the journey has begun and you are not going back. And you do not need to be perfect to live as a Stoic. You need to be consistent. Consistency builds strength. Strength creates freedom. Each habit, practiced with intention, carves the philosophy into your daily life. You are no longer just reading Stoicism. You are embodying it. Comment below, "I am the Stoic warrior." That is your declaration. You are no longer dragged by the world, no longer driven by wild emotion. You have chosen the path of the 1%, the path that is not easy, but is great. From this moment forward, you no longer ask, "How do I live like a Stoic?" The answer is already alive in what you do. You are the Stoic. The Stoic warrior's ritual of commitment. If you have reached this part, you are no longer a casual viewer. You are someone who chose to stay, someone who chose to step onto the path of the 1%. Not everyone has the patience or the discipline to arrive here. You did. That alone says everything about you. Pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Look back at the 10 habits. 10 simple actions, but 10 foundation stones for a life of clarity, discipline, and control. You have not just studied Stoic philosophy, you have practiced it through choices, through effort, through presence. Now you can feel a steady power rising within you. Quiet, firm, unshakable confidence in yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Let your actions make your words unnecessary. From today onward, let your actions speak. Do not say you will change. Wake up early. Do not say you will be disciplined. Open your journal and write. Do not say you want peace. Sit down in stillness." Every action is an oath. When you keep your word to yourself, you become the most trustworthy person in your own life. I want you to do one thing right now, not for me, but for yourself. Comment, "I act. I do not delay." This is not just a sentence, it is a promise, a public ritual that marks your choice, the path of discipline, of reason, of self-mastery. Each time you write that line, You send a signal to your mind that you are not the old version of yourself anymore. You are the one who acts. If this video speaks to you, like it as a way of sealing your commitment. Subscribe to join the Stoic Rise community, where each piece of content is not just information but a training session for your mind. Week after week, you will be reminded, challenged, and sharpened into a stronger version of yourself. Do not leave as someone who just finished a video. Leave as a warrior who has completed a ceremony. Stand tall, breathe deeply, feel the weight of calm strength spreading through your chest. In this moment, you are different. You are no longer chasing change. You are the change. Marcus Aurelius said, "Live as if you were already dead, and this is your second chance." That second chance is now, right in front of you. What you do after this will decide who you become. If you are truly committed, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. A Stoic warrior does not hoard wisdom. A Stoic warrior passes on the flame. Now comment one last time, with full conviction, "I rise with discipline." Remember, this path is not for the masses, but those who walk it to the end receive what the masses never touch: absolute freedom in the mind.